Hello student, welcome to my class 6 History, Chapter 2 from Hunting Gathering to Growing Food.
Second of history, from hunting gathering to growing food. In this chapter, children, we will read about the early people. One boy Tushar, like you, then came to know from his uncle that trains only started about 150 years ago. Tushar became very surprised to hear this. How did they spend their life without going outside from their birthplace? It means people could not travel quickly. What they did do and how they spent their life. About 2 million years ago, in the Indian subcontinent, people were called as hunter and gatherers. By the name, it is clear people who hunted or killed animals and gathered food from different plants are known as hunter-gatherers. Generally, they hunted wild animals, caught fish and birds, gathered fruits, roots, nuts, seeds, leaves, stalks, and eggs. The immense variety of plants in tropical regions for hunting and gathering. People have moved from place to place for different reasons. What are they? First, first reason, if they had stayed at one place for a long time, they were people may have moved from season to season in search of different plants. Fourth reason, people, plants and animals need water to survive. So they moved in search of water. Nowadays, people travel in search of jobs, to visit new places, to attend ceremonies, and to meet their friends and relatives. Archaeologists have found the hunter-gatherer used tools for hunting as well as other uses. Tools must be made of wood, stone, and bones. We find the evidence of these only because they are everlasting and clay is not everlasting. People used these tools for digging, stitching, as you can see in the picture, as well as the other uses like cut meat, cut bark of tree and cut animal hide. All the places marked with red triangle are Paleolithic sites in blue square where hunter and gatherers lived in many years ago. Sites purple diamond, early villages, and yellow stars are modern cities. Important places are in the map Bhimbetka, Inamgaon, Hongsi, Hallur, Buljahom, and Chirand. Further, you will read in the later chapters about these. Many of the caves in which early people lived have made paintings on the walls of the caves. You can see it in this picture. One man is following animals. These paintings are found especially in Madhya Pradesh and southern Uttar Pradesh. Now children, we come to sites. Sites are places where archaeologists have found the remains of tools, pots and buildings. These things are found on the surface of the earth as well as under the earth, and you will be surprised to hear they found evidence underwater also. Further in later chapter, you will read in details about it. Fire is first found in Kurnool. You can see Kurnool on this map. Early people used fire to cook meat, to scare away animals as a source of light. Today, we use fire for cooking. Now we come to Stone Age. We may divide this Stone Age into three parts: Paleolithic Stone Age, Mesolithic, and Neolithic Stone Age. Paleolithic Stone Age is the oldest one. It extends from 2 million years to about 12,000 years ago. It in Greek, paleo means old and lithos means stone. It means old stone age. In this period, people used big size of stones for making tools. It can further be divided into three categories: lower, middle and upper Paleolithic age. Now we come to Mesolithic. It extends from 12,000 years ago till about 10,000 years ago. In this period, tools are made up of tiny stones, and these tiny stones were called as microliths. Microliths were probably stuck onto handles of bone or wood to make tools such as saws and sickles. The next stage from about 10,000 years ago is known as the Neolithic Stone One. It extends from 2 million years to about 12,000 years ago. It in Greek, paleo means old and lithos means stone. It means old stone age. In this period, people used big size of stones for making tools. It can further be divided into three categories: lower, middle, and upper Paleolithic age. Now we come to Mesolithic. It extends from 12,000 years ago till about 10,000 years ago. In this period, tools are made up of tiny stones, and these tiny stones were called as microliths. Microliths were probably stuck onto handles of bone or wood to make tools such as saws and sickles. The next stage from about 10,000 years ago is known as the Neolithic Stone Age. Children, around 12,000 years ago, there came a tremendous changes in the climate of the world. Climate became warmer. Due to warmness, grasslands developed. Due to increase of grasslands, animals like deer, antelopes, goats, sheep, and cattle increased. And gradually, people started to take help from animals instead of hunting them. People also started to grow crops like wheat, barley, and rice, and fishing became the important part of their life. People also started domesticate animals. Now we come to next topic. How early people became farmers and herders. Children, actually this time several grains like wheat, barley and rice grow naturally in different parts of the subcontinent. Many people like men, women and children collected these grains as their food. Then gradually they came to know where it grew and when it ripened in such an interesting way without knowing it that they had become farmers. After growing crops, people attracted towards animals. For the attraction of animals, people began to leave food for them near their shelter. Slowly and gradually, people started to tame animals. Children, do you know who was the first animal to be tamed? It was the wild ancestor of dog. Later, people started to tame other animals like sheep, goat, cattle and pigs. Thus, they became herders. Can you think of many reasons why the dog was perhaps the first animal to be tamed? I think perhaps dog became the helper of human beings by watching their house, by keeping their house safe. That is why it became the first tamed animal. Now we come to proper domestication. Children first understand the meaning of domestication. It means to look after. In this category, not only animals but also plants were included. People now easily knew the difference between wild plant and animals. Wild plants means edible and were of large size. Teeth and horns of wild animals are usually much larger than those of domesticated animals. So, humans, they knew the difference between the wild animals and the other animals. Domestication was a gradual process that took place in many parts of the world. It began about 12,000 years ago. Some of the earliest plants to be domesticated were wheat and barley. Children, when they started growing crops, this crop may be ripened sometimes in few days, sometimes in few weeks, and sometimes in few years. So they have to stay at one place for looking after crops. It means they further did not move here and there in search of food. And for the storage of grains and seeds, they need a storage place. So they began to prepare clay pots or wove baskets or dug pits into the ground. Do you think hunter-gatherers would have made and used pots? No, because hunter-gatherers did not use any pot. They neither grew crops nor need to collect grains. In this map, you can see few blue squares. These are the evidences of early farmers and herders. Almost in all over India, we can see this. But most important ones are in the northwest, in present-day Kashmir, and in the east and south India. In these sites, archaeologists also found the evidences of burnt grains and bones of animals. Children, archaeologists have found traces of huts or houses at some sites, such as in Buza home in present-day Kashmir. People built pit houses, which were dug into the ground with steps leading into them. Archaeologists have also found cooking place both inside and outside the huts, which is most probably depend on whether people could cook food either indoor or outdoor both. Many stone tools have been found from many sites as well. They were different from old Paleolithic sites. Tools that were found were polished and were of fine cutting edges. Tools were especially used for grinding grains. All these tools were related to Neolithic age. People used earthen pots not for only storage but also for cooking too. These earthen pots means made up of clay were decorated at some places. Now grains like rice, wheat and lentils became an important part of the life of the people. Besides, they began weaving clothes using different kinds of materials, for example, cotton that could now be grown. Children, now look Mahargarh at map. Mahargarh was probably one of the places where women and men learned to grow barley and wheat and rear sheep and goats. It is one of the earliest villages that we know about. When archaeologists found the site of Mahargarh, they found many kinds of animal bones from earliest labels. In later labels, they found the bones of sheep and goats, and in still later labels, cattle bones are most common. Archaeologists also found the remains square or rectangular houses. Each house has four or more compartments, perhaps in the belief that there is some form of life after death. Burial is one such arrangement. Dead person was buried with goats which were probably meant to serve as food in the next world. Discovery of earliest people we find in Europe, especially in France. You can look in the map also. School children that time discovered and used bright colors made up of minerals like ochre, iron ore and charcoal. These paintings were made on perhaps for the ceremonial occasions. Children, in other elsewhere, it is about Turkey. You will be surprised to know that half part of Turkey is situated in Asia and half part is situated in Europe. One of the most famous Neolithic sites, Ketelhuyuk, was found in Turkey. Here several things were brought from great distances, flint from Syria, colonies from Red Sea, cells from the Mediterranean Sea, and all used in the settlement. Yes, children, one thing was very surprising that no carts were available that time and most of the things were carried on the backs of the pack animals like cattle or by people.
Today's our topic is complete. I hope you understand in my class. Related assignment to this chapter uploaded soon in your school website. Do all the assignment in your notebook and click the photo and upload new WhatsApp group. Thank you.